Hey everyone, today I want to share a deeply personal story with you. Maybe it'll help someone out there who's going through something similar. A couple of weeks ago, I decided to surprise my wife with a kid-free night out. My parents live about an hour and a half away, so I arranged for the kids to stay with them for the weekend. Usually when I go to my parents, I'm gone until later in the evening. We spend all day there and leave around dinner time, but this time I was dropping the kids off and immediately heading back home to surprise my wife. I had made reservations at a nice restaurant and planned to hit a few places for drinks first. I left at 8:30 and was back in our neighborhood before 12:30. As I pulled onto my street, I saw a truck parked in front of my house. I didn't recognize it. I assumed it was just someone visiting the neighbors because it's not unusual for people to park in front of our house. I parked a few houses away thinking I would sneak into the house and surprise my wife instead of pulling into the driveway and going through the garage. I went in through the basement door trying to be as quiet as possible. But as soon as I walked in, I heard noises from the floor above. At first, I thought she was just having some personal time. I didn't want to embarrass her, so I was going to go back to my car and come in through the garage to let her know I was home. Then I heard a man's voice. My heart felt like it was going to explode out of my chest. It's hard to describe how I felt in that moment. I decided to go upstairs. I had no desire to confront them. I just wanted to see what was going on. I moved slowly and quietly up the stairs. The door was halfway open. The kitchen was empty, but I could tell they were in the living room. It was obvious what was happening by the sounds. There was no way for me to look into the living room without being seen. I pulled out my phone and opened the camera app. I put my phone just around the corner of a wall. This part is so hard to say. I could see my wife with a man I didn't recognize. I won't go into detail, but you can imagine what I saw. I started recording, thinking I needed evidence for whatever I decided to do next. I just stood there in my kitchen, watching this unfold on my phone screen. I felt like I could scream at any moment, but for some reason, I just froze. This went on for several minutes. She finally jumped off of him and made a comment about going to the bedroom. They went upstairs. She even mentioned how much time they had left. I walked into the living room and found the guy's pants. I took his wallet out and took pictures of his driver's license. I know his name and address now. I've never met him. I have no idea how my wife knows him. I left the house the same way I entered. I went back to my car and cried like the pathetic man I am. I decided to watch the video to make sure it recorded. I watched it all. I'll spare you the details, but I sat in my car for at least half an hour. I couldn't drive back to my parents to get the kids. I would have to explain why. So I decided to pull into the driveway, open the garage, and pretend like I was there to surprise her. I took my time getting into the house, making a lot of noise. When I saw her, she was flustered, asking why I was home. She was in a robe and said she was getting ready for a bath. I told her about my plans, and she seemed excited. She poured us both a glass of wine and said we should pre-game before getting ready. I don't think I talked much. She took me into the living room. I'm not proud of what I let happen next. I could faintly see the guy sneaking downstairs and heading to the basement, but I didn't say or do anything. I just let my wife continue. Since that day, I've watched the video repeatedly. I can't bring myself to decide what to do next. She seems to know something's wrong because she's asked if I'm okay. I feel worthless. Every time I hit a low point, I watch that video again. I think I've watched it at least 10 times a day since I caught them. Thanks for listening. Take care.